All right. Earlier this week, when I was in town, I picked up some supplies, pressure treated 4x8 plywood, and some 2x6 boards. Also got these foundation piers to put I'm going to build a 8x8 insulated shack. And I got some cardboard tubing up here in the garage. This is going to be for the pillars that the foundation piers sit on. And under this tarp, I got some more cement that I'll be pouring in for the piers. So my next task was to decide where the storage shed's going to go. This is my existing one. It's not insulated, but this is nice flat ground here. It would be perfect for an 8x8, but this is also the only flat ground I have on my property, so I decided not to use that. And the whole point of this shed is because winter is coming and my current water solution is not going to work because all these filters will freeze. My 300 feet of hose that comes from my huge water tank up on the hill and the hose that I pump the water uphill, those would all freeze. I need to winterize those before freezing temps this winter. So what I need to do is build a shack that I can move my batteries. I guess lithium batteries don't like the cold. The ones that I bought do have a heater, so if I did want to insulate this shack, I could make this shack work. But since I'm already going to build a shed for the water and all the filters and pumps, I might as well just move these into my new shed. But my location, I don't want to take up my only flat spot on the land, and I know that I'm going to be wanting the water to go to the camper. So if I can just build it right here, that's kind of a perfect location. It's the ground is definitely not level. You can see my camper. It's touching ground on this side, but over here it's raised way up because the ground slopes like this. So with my piers though, it should work fine putting it in this location. So next thing I need to do is measure out exactly 8 feet by 8 feet for the 4 corners. I'm going to put one pier in the middle as extra support, and I'm going to have to mark the ground and bring my tractor down here with the backhoe, dig out some holes, put in some gravel, tamp it down, and then get my concrete forms ready from up there and start building the foundation for my 8x8 insulated shed. Alright, I've laid out the boards where all the buckets are 8 feet apart, so that means it's square. I made sure this bucket is 68 inches from the camper, and this one is as well. The camper is pretty stationary right now, so that'll give me enough room to walk by on that side. If I have a door, well, I will have a door, and it'll probably be over there, so that will give me room for that. The final shed I don't picture being this high up off the ground, but these buckets are about the perfect size for the cement tubes that I got, that I'm gonna pour some cement and put the foundation piers on those. So this one here is centered 4 feet to both sides all the way around. So bucket placement is done. Looking at the location, I kind of like where it's at. So next thing to do is I went around each bucket and I swept all the leaves and debris so that I know roughly where my hole needs to be. But I didn't buy any marker paint, So up in the shed, I found this no hunting purple paint in there. So I'm gonna set up the camera back here so you get a view, but I'm gonna walk around each bucket. I've already moved all the leaves and sticks and loose rocks around them and swept it with that, so I should be able to see the paint. But I'm gonna paint around where I want all the holes. Then I'm gonna remove all the wooden buckets and bring the tractor down here to start digging some holes. So that'll be up next. All right, so that is my 5 holes that I got to dig out with my tractor. And that purple paint worked surprisingly well. So now I know where to dig. I'm going to dig each one about a foot deep. And then there's going to be some gravel that goes in there. I'll tamp that down, and that'll be the base for the cement pillars. So while I wait for this paint to dry, I got to walk up the hill and go get the tractor and bring that. My last video I recorded getting these 3 buckets of gravel. While it was downloading, I used the shovel, scraped out all the loose dirt and any sort of organic stuff. But then I put in all the holes, a whole bunch of rocks that were just in the dirt. No sense in wasting those, so that'll save me some gravel and make it pretty sturdy foundation. So my next task is to go to each one of these holes and pour half a bucket of gravel in each one, and then use this tamper here and tamper everything down nice and solid. So that's what I'm going to do now. In each hole, and it's all tampered down now. So next step is to cut these tubes, and I brought an X-Acto knife. Hopefully that works. If not, I've got a Sawzall or circular saw, a bunch of stuff to cut it with. So I got to cut these down. It's not going to be completely level because I'm going to get a laser level, put it in the middle, spin it around, mark all the tubes, screw a screw in at the laser level spot, and then just fill up the cement to each one of those. So that's my plan. But this is just a bunch of tedious work, so I'm not going to record it. But I know this tube is going to have to be way longer than that tube because it's downhill this way and this way. So that's going to be my longest pier right there. So I'll probably start with that one. These two will be my shortest. That one up there will be the very shortest. And I don't need these things really far off the ground, so I'll probably get this one first as the short one, and that'll kind of be my level field. And then I need to make sure this one's at least taller than that one, and I can do that with if I have a pole that's longer than 10 feet, I could kind of level it and see, but I can eyeball it as well. So one other tip, just if you ever do a project like this, when you're digging the holes, don't put it in your walkway. I should have put it over here because that would be under the shed. Now I'm going to have to rake and scoop all that out of my walkway. So next time I do one of these, I'll make sure to put the dirt on this side where it's under the shed or whatever I'm building. So that's it for this video. Alright, because this is kind of a educational YouTube channel, I decided to show you what I did. So here I picked the pillar that is highest up on the ground, or tied for the highest. But then I cut it off. This is ground level. Cut it off a little above the ground because I do want the whole porch to be, off the ground so it doesn't get the moisture in it. So I know this is a little high. If I was ground level, it would be right about that line. But I can always cut this cardboard. But that was the first one. That just kind of gets me close. It's eyeball. But I was going to eyeball the second one. And I normally would eyeball the second one. But for the educational purposes, I know that we're at the top of the hill, so everything over there is going to have to be longer, and this is the higher, so I want this to be level with that. So I was just going to eyeball it and cut it a little higher, which would absolutely work, but for educational purposes, this is another way to do it. Put one of your 2x4s, or 4x6 in my case, on top of your board. We raise it up. Okay, we're way above level now. Go down. Okay, we're level right there. So right there we're level. I know I have extra play. I'm going to raise it up a little bit, mark it, and that's going to be my spot. And now, the X-Acto knife actually worked okay on this. It's definitely not super straight, but I'm just going to cut this on my line, and that'll be this one. But now you know how to do it if you decide to take on a project like this yourself. Alright, pillars are laid out. I showed you these two up at the top of the hill. Once I had cut those, this was the third piece that was left. So I put it there, and from this one, it's sloped down just a little bit. From that one, it's about level. And everything's going to be level from that one. So this one's going to work just fine right there. Then I did that same trick that I just showed you, because good thing I didn't eyeball it. I was guessing it was going to be around here to be level, but this slope is way different. So that one was a lot taller. But those two now, if I put this board across with the level, is level. Just this one's just a little bit higher. But then that was half of my second tube. The third tube fit over here just perfectly. It wasn't quite level. So I still had half a bucket of sand and gravel. So I put that in the hole, tamped it down, and now that is pretty level just for the top of the cardboard, because the cardboard this is just going to hold the cement. That's not going to tell me when everything's level. I'm going to get a plain laser level and set it somewhere in here so that it marks a line on all 5 pillars, which is exactly level. And then I'm just going to screw a screw in on that line on each tube and fill the cement right up to that screw. Because then I know the cement, it's kind of a self-leveling cement, because these tubes aren't exactly level with my cutting, and they're on a slope. Like if you look at this one, you see the tube is not level. But when I pour the cement in there up to a specific line, the cement will level itself. I'll make it a little waterier, but then all of my pillar foundations will be level. And I meant to get a laser level. Last time I was in town, I didn't get one, and so I guess this is where I'm stuck for today. I got some electrical work to do in this camper. Still got to get my hot water heater working, the regular heater working, and the water pump working. So I sound a little sad on that. It's because I've already done a lot of electrical work, fixing a bunch of patches. I did these ones out here. Show you all my work inside the camper. Under the sink here. I patched up a whole bunch of wires in here. I made a video on the rats in here. I patched up every loose wire in here that I could find. And I was really hoping this heater would work, but it doesn't. So there might be chewed up wires inside the walls that I can't really get to. I might have to call in a professional for this, but my next step is to hook up power and bypass the thermostat on this heater and see if at least the heater portion works. It might just be the thermostat wire. I hear a click up in this AC unit, which is also based on the thermostat when I turn on the heat, so it might just be a loose wire up there that I need to work on. But yeah, since I'm kind of stuck for today, I think I'll just be working inside the camper after I take a break and enjoy this nice view. It's finally cool weather, which is really nice. And the lake is still so low. We were supposed to get rain today, but I guess it's just bypassing us. So that's it for this video. Well, I decided not to work on electrical just yet. I'm in the mood to work on the insulated shed. So I took 2 of the heavy wood, some of them were rain soaked a little bit, but 2 of the heavy 2x6s, and I measured them, and they were just about 8 feet, but they were just over. So I cut them down to exactly 8 feet on these 2. And then these other 2, I had to cut off exactly 3 inches. So each one should be 8 feet by 12 inches is 96 inches. So 96 minus 3 is 93. I did the same thing on this one here. So these will be the outside ones, and these two I'm going to screw into the inside, and I'm going to get a very straight, square 8x8 frame, and that's going to help me center these posts, because I've got pier beams that are going to sit on top of them, but they need to be as close to center as possible. So even before I level them, I need to make sure they're in the right spot, and then once they're situated fine, I need to kind of like twist and turn, get them into the ground so that they're stable, and then I can use the level laser. I was going to use this board here in between, and I could put a screw in, set this on top, and level it that way. But the only problem is this is exactly 8 feet, which is fine center, but then I have no play on either side. So one side would slip off, because these need to be 8 foot on center all the way across. So I looked, and the only other thing that I have that's 10 feet is some PVC pipe. But those are flexible, so that's not going to help me level things with just a board. I would need a very straight 10-foot board. And then I could level it without the laser level, because I would just measure these two, and from that same screw, measure those two, and just go. And then this last one should be level. If it's not, then I would have to adjust. But laser level makes everything a lot easier, but before I can even do that, I have to make sure all the footers, or the footer cardboard, is in place, and those need to be dead center 8 feet on all those. So that brings me to why I just cut these boards. It's because I'm going to bring them up to my most level spot on the ground up here, and I'm going to screw them together and make sure everything is square, and that will be my frame. And then I'll put some joist in between, but probably not before I level everything. I won't put the frames in until I get all the pillars situated, but this will at least help me get all the cardboard molds for the cement dead on center, which is what I want. So I'm going to put these together next and go put it on the cardboard, and we'll go. Alright, I have found the most level ground that I have, which is still not level, but I used some paver stones. What you see on the bottom is now going to be the top, because everything is flush on the bottom because of the paver stones. So I'm going to flip this upside down when I put it as my base. But this is exactly 8 feet by 8 feet square. This board and the one on this side, I trimmed off just a little bit, so I know those are exactly 8 feet. And then the two inner ones here, which is this, where all my joists are going to go this way. But the inner ones, I cut off 3 inches, so 1.5 inch for this 2x4, and 1.5 inch for that 2x4. And then, as I was putting it together, I used this square. So every corner before I screwed it in, I put in one screw in the middle, screwed it in using the square to make sure that everything is square. And then once I had all 4 corners done, I came back and sunk in 2 more screws on each of the corners. I did find this board is bowed quite a bit, so I put the bow on the inside so that when I put the joist in, it's going to push it out a little bit. It'll help keep the boards stable that way. But yeah, that's it for the frame. I got to flip it over, carry it all the way over here, which is pressure treated 2x6, so it's going to be kind of heavy, but I do what I can. So I'll be taking off this little 2x4. That was just for leveling things, but I'm going to put it on these 4 corner cardboard tubes. Make sure that I get those dead center on the corner, and that will make sure everything's square. That's where I'm going to be pouring cement and putting these little pier and beam deck piers that I got here. So the 2x6s are going to go in here. They're going to meet in the middle, and so I've got 4 for the corners and 1 for the middle. I was going to do 9 according to AI Google suggestion, but I think that's a little overkill with just an 8x8 shed, so I'll save the other ones for another project. But yeah, next step is carry this over there, center up those tubes. I gotta kind of wedge them a little bit into the dirt so that they stay in one spot, and then that's where I'll pour the cement once I get my laser level. So alright, next step, move this here, and then I'll record once it's on top and show you once everything's leveled up. Alright, I have my square 8-foot by 8-foot flooring frame centered in all the tubes. I had to move them a little bit to get them pretty much eyeball dead center, because I can move things around once I get the pillars poured. But that one's not quite centered, but I ran out of space there. It's really hard to dig holes once you tear up that purple paint, but this is looking pretty good. Alright, I don't have my laser level, but I want to get a little concrete put in each one of these before I head to Texas this weekend. So, got 2 bags of concrete here. I got my wheelbarrow and shovel, and I've read the instructions. It's just add water, and I'm supposed to add 4 pints. 4 pints of water per bag. So, last I checked, 2 pints is a quart. 2 pints is a quart, 4 quarts is a gallon. I'm going to have to look this up, but I did put in 2 perfectly good gallons of drinking water here. I hate to waste my drinking water on cement, but it's worth it. You're like, Dave, your drinking water's really yellow. It's like, yeah, but that's just algae. It's fine. You put it through some filters, which this drinking water has not gone through. It's gone through these 3 filters, but it hasn't gone through my 50 micron filter, which would clear this right up with algae. So I'm gonna double check my math, because I really don't know how many pints are in a gallon. I think it might be 8 pints in a gallon. But I'm gonna check my math and then record again. We'll mix this up and pour it in the form. Alright. So, I mixed the 2 bags in the wheelbarrow. It's clean now. This one is less than half full. And this one is about half full, but it's also a bigger pipe. But I got this 2x4. I think I'm supposed to pack it down a little bit once I pour it. So I did that. That's 2 of them. I'm going to mix some more concrete and do 1, 2, 3 more. And then call it a day. So I'll record after I'm done with these. It's a lot of work to record all this. So that's it for this video. Alright. So, finally mixed up all the concrete in the wheelbarrow with the shovel. This thing finally looks official now. It looked so new for the longest time. But, compacted concrete, less than halfway in there. Less than halfway in there. But, I didn't want to fill it all the way up until I get the laser level and know right where I'm filling it up to. But this is all going to sit in the ground and dry out. I'm going to Texas this weekend, so there's a lot of time to dry. But then I'll be able to come back and I'm just ready to set the laser level and pour to the right level. Put in my pier blocks, and I'll have the flooring of my shed, 8x8 shed, ready to put some insulation in. So that's exciting. And the sun is so slowly setting here. I finished just in time. I had an accident over here. The wheelbarrow on a hill does not work good when you set it on a hill facing this way when the hill's that way. So always when you have a wheelbarrow, put the wheel headed downhill and the 2 legs uphill. But that's it for this project for today. Got some great news today. My old job, I've been waiting on permission to work remote, and they just called, my old boss called me today and said he finally got the email giving me permission to work remote. So I might have my old job back, working remotely. So came just in time. I was just starting to apply for jobs online. While this isn't a 9-to-5 job, there's always a lot of work to do, and I do a lot of work, but it doesn't pay the bills. So it's going to be nice to have that job back. This one is going to take me a little longer working a full-time job, but that's not supposed to start for another week and a half or so. So I hope to get this done before I start my other job. So